Previously on the Skip and Josh Sports Show.
The listeners heard it, so now if you listeners want to win your brackets, do the exact opposite of everything you heard on this show, and you should be fine.
The beauty of this is that everybody has an opinion and anybody could win.
Everyone's an expert, and everyone can end up looking like a genius.
That's right. That's right.
You're listening to the Skip and Josh Sports Show.
How are you, Skip?
I'm great. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm fully dedicated to our show.
That is dedication. I thank you for making yourself available despite your voice.
It's okay. I flew in today from Washington, D.C., where I spent the last 4 days.
So you were lucky then because you didn't have to watch any of the games on TSN like I did.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I should mention March Madness games. I just assume everyone knows what I'm talking about. I shouldn't assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Well, I guess if anybody who's been listening to our show for the past month, knows that's been our focus. But what was going on TSN? It was particularly annoying. They kept cutting in with Jack Armstrong and someone else.
They actually it wasn't terrible. I mean, I don't have really any complaints. Some minor ones, but the good thing is, anytime there was 3 or 4 games going on at the same time, at least TSN showed different games on different channels,
Right.
which they normally don't do. They
Right.
normally have the same thing on TSN 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Right, like curling.
Exactly.
Well, in the U.S., they had, the games on CBS and then also on TBS and TNT. So you just had to go to the channel.
And True TV as well.
And, but I didn't know how to find that in my hotel. So,
okay.
I wasn't flipping around. I was sticking to one game mostly. And then I got to see, I don't know, did you get to see at all, some of the panel show with, Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and...
Only the games that were on CBS, because I didn't get to see the other panel shows on the other networks because I don't get the other networks.
Got it.
So TSN put in their own panel, which was Jack Armstrong and Sam Mitchell. So I guess my only complaints were that on TSN, well, there's tons of commercials, and that's not TSN's fault. That's because the timeouts are so long.
There's tons of commercials.
But on TSN, they only had, it seemed, 4 different commercials. They just kept recycling. So I saw the same 4 commercials over and over and over.
There's one commercial I really liked. Which is
when I was watching the games on CBS, the American commercials were great.
There's one commercial that I really liked: Charles Barkley, Spike Lee, and
I love those commercials.
Spike Lee and
Capital One, Samuel
L. Jackson. So some of those commercials are annoying. But did you see the one where they're on the plane and he's like, "Sam, what are you eating? Steak. Where are you eating it? On the plane.
On a plane."
I mean, it's really such a stupid commercial, but I loved watching it every single time. I really
too.
got
It was awesome.
I had a good feeling watching that commercial. It was good. Then there's another one where they're singing "I Will Survive." It was
that one's not as good.
Yeah.
But there's another one where they're at Charles Barkley's house, and there's a crucial moment in the game, and Samuel L. Jackson claps, and all the power
everything turns off. Yeah. So good.
And then they miss the play.
It's like,
and Samuel says to Charles, "You have your TV on a clapper?"
I when I watch those commercials, I think about okay, so you're Capital One, the big credit card company, and you go to some kind of Madison Avenue, New York advertising agency, and you say, "We want to make commercials around March Madness time." Mm-hmm. So there's some genius or weirdo, I don't know, it depends on your point of view, who's like, "Yeah, let's get Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, and Charles Barkley all together. And have them put into weird situations." Who thinks of this stuff? I guess that's why people are in the advertising business.
Meanwhile, they hardly they only mention Capital One at the very end.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
They don't tell you any. There's nothing about the product. Like a normal commercial is what's good about this product? How much does it cost? What can it do for you? Why do you want this product? No, it's Capital One. What's in your wallet? And then that's it. Eating steak on a plane.
The other commercial I liked, and I'm going to forget some, but there was another good one. Did you see the one where all these Kentucky fans are watching a game and the power goes out in the whole street?
And then the Kansas guys come with the Coke
No, the
six-pack of
Kentucky
Coke.
guys come with a Coke to the Kansas guy's house.
They don't want to let them in, but then they
At
show
first
them.
he says no, and then he lets them in because they bring Coke.
Oh yeah, thank God I brought 6 little bottles of Coke. That's gonna get me in, right? It's so weird. He's showing it at the window. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll get you in.
Well, it worked. He got him in.
Yeah, in that Kansas, Kentucky land. All right. Well, I mean, do you want to get to the games? Oh, by the way,
wait. Sorry. I gotta mention one more commercial since you got me started. The March Mayhem guy. He always causes like accidents and fires.
It's for like Allstate or an insurance company. Right?
I don't even know which insurance company it's for, but he's hilarious.
Yeah, he makes some crazy stuff happen. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the day after Duke lost. Everybody knows we're both huge Dukies.
It was very depressing.
Everybody who was in our bracket challenge, again, thanks everybody who joined. Duke was probably picked the most as the champion, or it was a sizable amount of people that had Duke in their bracket as the champion. So like basically I tore mine up yesterday, so did you. I tore mine up before that anyway, so it didn't matter. I want to tell you like sort of the history of me and filling out these brackets.
Okay.
Of my life. I was very philosophical about all this March Madness this year. So, we started watching college basketball. I started watching in earnest around in the late 80s. So, like the first teams that I remember was, the NC State, Patrick Ewing. And then I really started following it and then there was the first really good Duke team, with Johnny Dawkins. And I didn't follow it as much then. And then I really started following it just shortly after, kind of when Leitner arrived, the Danny Ferry Duke team, and Leitner was a freshman, and that's when I started really getting into it. And so me and you, like just to tell the listeners, and we kind of alluded to it when Rob was on last episode, we used to be in like a fairly high stakes college basketball pool.
It's higher now.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got out of it because it got too high, to be honest. At that time, but it wasn't like a bracket format. It was a different format. We don't have to get into that. And we had success in that thing.
The first year.
Yeah, the first year we won both halves of it, and people were mad.
And then we didn't win again, I don't think.
We won again. I think the year after that we may have won a portion, and then there's the year that Duke lost to Connecticut, with Richard Hamilton and Khalid El-Amin, and that's the Trudgeon Langdon team. We actually had clinched the points portion, but we needed Duke to win the championship, and we could have won both. And we ended up only winning the points portion. So we had success in that pool, which was cool. And then, I mean, honestly, I've been filling out brackets my whole life. I don't think I've ever done a good one. Ever. So
it's so hard to do a good one.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
So, I mean, it's gotten to the point where in the last like 5 to 7 years, I don't even bother trying to do a good one. I automatically pick Duke as the champion no matter what. So a few years ago with, the Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow team, well, I had the national champion in my bracket because that's who I pick. And a few years before that, when Duke beat Butler, I also had Duke, right? But all the other years I had them too when they didn't win.
Okay.
So
it's not a bad strategy.
It's not a bad strategy. So
they've won 5 championships. So one, you're going to win eventually.
So I picked them this year just because that's what I do. And a lot of people picked them, obviously. But I was feeling so good about my bracket after the first 2 days. Going into Saturday games, I was feeling good about my bracket. I had like a lot of I had a lot correct. I didn't have any red on my bracket. I had a few reds. But nothing going into the next game. So it was very manageable. Like I didn't have future red, if you understand what I mean.
I do understand.
I didn't have reds going deep. So I was really feeling good about it. And then Saturday and Sunday, what the hell happened? Everything went crazy. And then to top it all off, Duke lost last night. I was watching in a sports bar in Washington, and I was like, I couldn't even believe what I was watching.
Did you go to Chad's?
No, Chad's is too far away.
Okay.
But I was at the Capital City Brewing Company. Shout out to those fine folks who treated us a couple nights in a row to some good food and drinks.
Nice.
For our crew. So yeah, I mean, God, I felt so helpless watching that game yesterday against South Carolina. You could see everything that's wrong with that team. As the listeners know, I texted you, before the ACC tournament started and said, this team's not going anywhere. Don't even think about it. Forget about Duke, blah, blah, blah. And then they won the ACC tournament, and I jumped on the bandwagon like the stupid idiot that I am. I jumped right back on that bandwagon. And then now I fell off real hard. So.
Before we get into yesterday's game specifically, I was going to say something in general about the tournament so far,
sure.
the first weekend. So what normally happens, you get the upsets that you get them in the first 2 days on the Thursday and the Friday. You'll get like a 13 seed winning or a 14 seed winning, or sometimes a bunch of 12 seeds winning. And then, so you'll get the upsets on Thursday and Friday, but then Saturday, those double digit seeded teams, they lose on Saturday and Sunday. And so things sort of come back to normal.
There's the odd year where you get someone going far, but
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, usually things get back to normal on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So this year was completely opposite because there was only 1 12 seed that won and no other high seed. There were 3 11s that won, which was surprising. I've never seen that happen.
But the thing is, when you're saying the good teams advance, but the 11s and the 10s and the 8s, like these were good teams too. That's what made the tournament. Yeah.
So, but then the upsets happened on the Saturday, Sunday this year, where there was a 1 seed that lost and 2 seeds that lost.
Yeah. So
it was like almost backwards this year.
The Villanova Duke section is like wide open now.
Right.
Baylor, or as I should call them, Baylor. They have a chance.
So it was kind of opposite. And by the way, in general, I'm going to say there were no overtime games. There were no buzzer beaters. No. So it actually wasn't the most exciting weekend of basketball.
SMU almost had that buzzer beater. The guy should have hit that layup. I don't know. That was
I don't know if you saw, I think it might have been the first game of the tournament on Thursday at noon. It was Princeton and Notre Dame. Yeah. Princeton had 2 golden opportunities to win that game in the last 30 seconds, and the guy missed his 3-pointer both times. He had open looks.
Yeah, Wichita State actually had Kentucky on the ropes the other day. Yes. They had them, and they just couldn't get a proper shot off in their last 2 possessions. Like both times the shot was blocked. They were horrible shots. Like but I mean, look, we said it. We said anybody could beat anybody, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I did. I said to you, the 1 seeds will all beat the 16 seeds.
Yeah.
But then once they move on to the next round, I wouldn't be surprised if all the 1 seeds lost against the 8 or 9.
Yeah, but I felt like any 8 seed and above were all good teams.
Yeah, and they were. I mean, Wisconsin's an 8 seed. That's crazy.
Yeah. So now everybody's getting their matchup that they wanted. The lowest seed left, I think, is Xavier.
Correct, an 11. By the way, I'm in another bracket other than the Skip and Josh show bracket.
Yeah, me too, and that one's busted also because I picked Duke.
Well, I picked the exact same bracket in both of them.
Yeah.
But what I also did in that other bracket, just for fun, because I administer that one, I put in a test bracket where I just picked all the favorite teams, all the higher seeds.
But what did you do when you got to 4 number 1s at the end?
Well, the computer does it for you, and it picked Villanova to win it all because Villanova was the number 1 of all the ones.
You had the rankings of the tops. Okay.
So anyway, so it just picks all the favorite teams throughout.
Right.
And let me tell you, that bracket is doing well.
Yeah, because like you said, there was upsets at the beginning, maybe here and there, but those teams didn't keep going. And yeah.
Anyway, that bracket's doing better than my actual bracket.
So now that the big question is, like, now that Duke is out, who are you cheering for? Because this is what happens to me every year. I'm focused on my bracket, but by the first weekend over, I'm out. Right? I'm out. My bracket's done.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, who am I going to cheer for? Now I'm more looking at like real basketball instead of just staring at my bracket. Right? So I don't know. I don't know who to cheer for. I don't like anybody that's left.
Well, I mean, there's a few teams that I wouldn't mind seeing UCLA go far because they're exciting to watch.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind seeing Kansas go far because I think, they've earned it. Other than Villanova, they had a great season.
You heard me say a few times I thought Kansas was the best team this year, so which is no surprise to anybody.
I mean, Oregon's a nice story. They have that injury, but they're still alive, and they still have 2 Canadians on the team, so that's a reason to root for Oregon.
Gonzaga too, and then obviously root against North Carolina is always good, right? So
of course, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, I did pick Arizona to win it all, so I'm still going to root for Arizona to win it all. I mean, I have no chance of winning any pool. It doesn't matter, but I think they had a very good season. And the Pac-12, it turns out, was very underrated because they still have 3 teams in. And by the way, I don't need to tell you this, the ACC, who got 9 teams into the tournament, only has 1 left.
Crazy.
So everyone who was saying how the ACC is the best conference in the country, they might have been, but they're not anymore.
Not anymore, right? And the Big Ten, who everyone was slagging, did better than expected, with Michigan and Wisconsin.
Right. I think the Big 12 still has 3 teams left.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
and the SEC even has 3 teams left, and they're no good.
They're no good at all, right? Because South Carolina.
Right, but yet somehow they still have 3 teams left.
Yeah. That Duke game yesterday was just like, we've seen it before. They lost to Lehigh, they lost to Mercer. South Carolina is obviously way better than those teams. But it just emphasized what was wrong with the team. What I already knew was wrong with the team. They didn't have a proper point guard. They relied too much on the 3-point shooting. They can't rebound, right? And that's everything why they lost. So
I mean, the truth is, you can replay that game 10 times, and I bet you Duke wins 7 or 8 of those.
I guess, but they didn't win the one that counted.
No, they didn't win the one that counted.
So
listen, South Carolina won the game. Good for them.
I told you that I have a new favorite Twitter follow called Not SportsCenter.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah. So here's something from the Not SportsCenter Twitter. Your updated bracket pool standings. Number 1, a girl who picked by cutest mascot. Number 2, the 9th bracket of a guy who filled out 15. And then there's ... Number 53, your mom. Number 54, you. So I think that pretty much sums up most people's bracket experience, who are doing office bracket pools and whatever. Like the one who's winning my work office pool, I mean, I can't believe the person who's winning. It's like exactly someone who just picked random stuff,
Look, there's a reason that Warren Buffett offers $1 million to someone who picks a perfect bracket, because it's never going to happen.
It's impossible.
And you know what? If it did, $1 million, I don't think would even matter to him.
You saw that my daughter, by the way, shout out to Selena. Happy birthday. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
She picked Winthrop. Earlier. She picked Winthrop to go all the way.
Yeah.
I didn't ask her why Winthrop. There must have been something with the logo or something about it that caught her eye, but it's super weird that she picked them. And then I saw on the other side of her bracket, she made sure to have West Virginia and Virginia in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. What about Virginia Tech?
No, it's because it's from an iCarly episode, Virginia and West Virginia. I'll post it on our website.
Okay. Very nice.
So that's that's what I have to say about March Madness. It's frustrating, it's exciting, it's depressing, it's amazing. It's what sports is supposed to be, right?
Yes.
It's everything it's supposed to be. And that's what we got. We got a great
one thing we didn't mention.
Yeah.
Is the quality or lack thereof of the officiating this past weekend.
Well, there was some weird calls, that's for sure.
Yes, there were. In fact, the most egregious one, in my opinion, did you get to see the Northwestern Gonzaga game?
I saw a little bit of it, but then I missed the big crucial call, but I saw it on SportsCenter that night. By the way, I love being in the United States. I get to watch ESPN all night.
Yeah, I'm sure you got so much better coverage than I did here.
So, yeah, with the guy had his hand through the net to block the shot.
That's a clear goaltend.
Yeah, and then Chris Collins got a tech. He got a technical, and that was like a big swing of the game, right?
Right, because instead of being down by 3 with 5 minutes left, they were then down by 7 with 5 minutes left. So that changed the whole complexion of the game.
Did you see that kid, the crying Northwestern kid? He's all over the internet.
I think, is it true that he is the son of the athletic director?
Yes.
I was annoyed with the kid, to be honest.
Me too. It was enough already, right?
I don't need to see him anymore.
Yeah, it's like
no one cares that much.
No, you see him once, it's cute, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't see the North Carolina Arkansas game, but everything that I read on Twitter was that Arkansas got completely screwed by the refs. So I don't know if it was one call or just a bunch of calls, but
I did see that game, and I don't remember any really awful calls, to be honest.
Maybe I just follow a lot of Duke fans that were bitter.
Arkansas had a lead with about, I think, 5 minutes left. I think they had a lead, and then North Carolina went on this crazy 12-0 run to end the game.
Who knows? Maybe Michigan's going to go on and win this whole thing.
Who knows? Anyone can win.
They've survived their planes getting off the runway. Now they're going to go all the way, and it's going to be like a super Cinderella story.
It's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up.
You know what? Let's just quickly go through the next games.
Sure.
And just pick a winner. Like, don't have to talk about it for now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next game, and I'm going to go in chronological order of when they're actually happening.
Okay, you call them out. Yeah.
So the next game is Thursday at 7:09 p.m. It's Oregon versus Michigan.
Sure. I think Oregon's. I would pick Oregon. I don't. But like I said, maybe Michigan's this crazy story, right?
I'm going to pick Oregon in that as well.
Yeah.
Then also on Thursday, Gonzaga, West Virginia.
Well, I'm definitely cheering for Gonzaga. I'm definitely going for Gonzaga.
I'm going to take West Virginia in that game. Yeah.
I mean, Gonzaga's not convincing, but I mean, they're the team that I want to win now. I'm gonna put all my rooting power behind them.
Okay. Then still Thursday, we've got Kansas, Purdue.
I think Kansas.
I'm going to stick with Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final game on Thursday is Xavier, Arizona, and I'm going to pick Arizona.
I'm going to pick Arizona too. But I believe our expert guest, Neil,
yes,
he told us not to sleep on Xavier, right?
I think he might have said that, but he also picked Arizona to win it all.
I know he did. But he was the one that was high on Xavier, and if I recall correctly, he pointed out that they were like top 20 preseason, right? And then so there's something to be said about that. So
okay, moving on to the Friday games.
Mm-hmm.
There's North Carolina Butler. You're picking Butler.
Yeah, sure. I'm picking with my heart now, right? I'm not going with my brain.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then I have to pick Butler as well.
I was looking at this more of who I want to win, not who's gonna win.
Okay.
But you could look at it how you want.
Then
that's the beauty of having your own show.
Still on Friday, we've got Baylor versus South Carolina.
Baylor, yeah.
Yeah, let's go with...
I don't know. I don't care. Really, I don't care. I think I'm gonna just keep going for Baylor, and like they usually wear those like highlighter uniforms.
I was gonna say the uniforms were blinding my eyes, and I needed to wear sunglasses inside the apartment.
Right. So like, let's keep the highlighter uniforms going.
Okay. If Baylor, by the way, ever ends up playing Oregon, it's going to be two uniforms. I don't think the cameras will be able to function properly.
We might need 3D glasses or something. To
if they ever end up facing each other, which could happen. Okay, so still with Friday, we've got, let's see, which game do I want? UCLA, Kentucky is probably going to be the best game on Friday.
Well, most people think that was the best game of the season, the first time they played each other.
Yeah.
Two entertaining styles, teams that like to run it up, 3-pointers, dunking, the whole deal. And, basically what a lot of people think are two of the top potential draft choices coming out, Malik Monk and Lonzo Ball. Mm-hmm. So you might have the first two picks in the draft right there.
Right.
So it's pretty exciting. I mean, I hate Kentucky, so
I'm rooting for UCLA.
I'm not a UCLA guy, but I don't want to root for UCLA because I can't stand Lonzo Ball's father. He's such an idiot. So, although he did come out and say something good, a reporter asked him like, don't you think you're like too much and you're distracting? And he's like, everyone compares me to like Michael Jordan's father or Serena Williams' father or Tiger Woods' father. He goes, you know what? Those are the three best people in their sport. So, if my kid, if we're going down that path, then that's fine with me,
Yeah.
So
good for him.
It was a pretty good answer, actually, for such a moron.
The last game of the next round on Friday night is Wisconsin and Florida.
I want to take Wisconsin there.
I'm going to agree with you.
I like the way they played. I watched them play their that game against Villanova, and like Wisconsin is boring, right?
Yes.
They play how they play, right? It's like good defense, get good shots, hold the ball, nothing flashy, but it goes back to like what I said a couple of times is like can't underestimate seniors, and they seem to have something there, that Wisconsin team.
Okay.
All right. This concludes our March Madness segment.
It does.
So I hope everybody had fun doing our bracket. Oh, just 2 seconds. I just wanted to tell people about the bracket. Our bracket challenge.
Yes.
So, I mean, Rob, our guest from the last episode, has been leading the entire time. He has a tremendous score. But he did pick Duke to win the whole thing. So the way the rules work, right, is you get more points as the tournament goes on. So now the next round we're talking ×3 and then ×4, right? Multiplier. So I mean, all the people who pick Duke, I think they're not going to be able to win. So unfortunately for Bobot, all his great picks, but he doesn't have the champion. The number 2 is this guy by the name of Karis Edward. Who
his bracket's looking good.
Yeah, so I do know who that person is. His bracket's looking great, and he has Kansas to win it all, so he does have a real legit chance.
Yes.
Then just going down to anybody who didn't pick Duke, well, Parker Kleinman picked Wichita State. I don't think we can count him.
But Neil Schnerbach.
Yeah, Schnerbs has right now the 3 people that I feel that could win is Karis, who I mentioned, Neil, who has Arizona, and then way down on the list in 13th is Zach Lyman, who has UCLA winning it all. So I feel like he could also, if UCLA wins, I think he's going to win. And it'll get close between 2 people who are very, very close in score. I'd have to examine their brackets, Daniel Berg and Evan Sevi, to see who might come out on top if North Carolina should win it all, because they both picked Carolina. But their scores are so close right now that I don't know, so
it's hard to say.
You have to look at what they've picked differently to see. All right, so I hope everybody had fun with the bracket challenge, and maybe we'll try to do some like we talked about off air. Maybe we're going to try to do some other bracket challenges and just random other things
that have nothing to do with college basketball.
Yeah. So we'll try to get that going.
Okay.
All right.
Hi there, Skip and Josh will be right back. To get in touch with them, you can send them an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. You can follow them on Twitter @skipandjosh, and you can visit their website at www.skipandjosh.com. And now, back to the show.
So I know right now in Toronto, where you live, they are going gaga over the possibility of the Leafs making the playoffs and the big game, which is probably starting right now against the Bruins.
It's actually 1-0 Boston already.
Wow.
So yes, everyone is quite excited about this game. It's a huge game here in Toronto.
But do they think they're going to catch the Leafs for third in the division, or is it just really to try to solidify their playoff spot?
Well, no, I mean, just there's a lot of excitement because the Leafs are currently in a playoff spot, so that's exciting for them. And then the fact that they could maybe even move up a spot.
Yeah, wild.
And have maybe arguably an easier opponent, although I'm not sure. Like, they don't want to. Who wants to play the Capitals in the first round, right?
The Capitals are not going great, but you still don't want to play them in the first round.
So, in other words, if they're able to pass Boston, they can play Ottawa in the first round. And I think the Leafs relish playing Ottawa because that's a big rivalry, right?
Well, for the media, it is. I don't know if the teams see it that way.
I think so because Dion Phaneuf was traded from Toronto to Ottawa.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah,
and it's the Battle of Ontario, and the Leafs have been around for 100 years, and Ottawa's been around for what, like 15, 20, I don't know.
Sportsnet would go crazy with a Battle of Ontario. They would just, I don't know. It would be unbearable.
So, I mean, I'd rather face Ottawa than face Washington in the first round. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ottawa.
The Leafs still actually need to worry about
the Islanders and Tampa. Yeah,
exactly. They could fall out of the playoffs altogether. So this is an important, huge game for them.
Yeah, they're only 1 point ahead of the Islanders, and actually, well, they have a game in hand, but they're still only 1 point ahead. And they're only 2 points ahead of Tampa. I think the Flyers at this point, we can close the book on them. But,
so.
And like I said, Tampa is everybody's darling. A lot of people are like, oh, Tampa's going to come back. They're going to make it. But they're so underwhelming, right? Because they win a game and then they lose a game. And then they win a game and everyone thinks they're so hot and they lose a game, So
I wanted to point something out that
I like the Leafs' chances of making the playoffs. I really feel that they could easily make it over the Islanders and Tampa and get that last spot easily.
Well, it's going to go down to the last day of the season.
Yeah, well, there's around 10 games left, 12, 10 or 12 per team. So anything could happen. So
right. So if you look at the standings right now, you'll see that there are obviously 16 teams. If you just go by today, not including what's happening tonight in the games, all 16 teams that are currently in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
are plus in goal differential, which is not a surprise.
Right.
All the other teams that are currently not in a playoff spot,
they're all minus.
Are all minus in terms of goal differential.
I was just looking at that. It's amazing in the East and the West.
It does make sense, but I've never seen it so
clear,
perfect ever.
Yeah, so perfect.
I've never seen that.
It is pretty amazing, actually, looking at it. And the Islanders are -8. It's pretty bad.
And the Rangers, who will probably have to start on the road in the first round, are +42.
Well, the Rangers. I mean, the Metropolitan Division is so stacked. It's just so ridiculous, you know.
It is. I don't know how that happened because it didn't always used to be like that.
Yeah, but right now, like it's jockeying for position, right? Because Washington and Columbus have the same amount of points, and Pittsburgh's only 1 point behind.
Right. I don't think the Rangers can catch any of those.
No,
teams.
but Washington could fall out of the division lead, and you could get a Toronto-Pittsburgh first round. Or
absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
You know, back to like what happened here in Montreal. I mean, I was away this weekend, so I was a little bit out of what was happening in hockey.
I was here this weekend, but sorry to interrupt you. I was in town this weekend, but I was completely oblivious to what was going on in hockey because I was so focused on March Madness.
Me too. And I actually did listen to the Habs game on the radio, a little bit of the third period and overtime of the Saturday game, and then a little bit of the. Actually, I didn't even. I just
hold on. You're in the States and you got the Habs game on the radio?
On my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on my phone.
Okay.
On the iHeartRadio app.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and then I didn't even bother. I was too busy last night with the Duke game and everything, so I just saw the score and they were won 4-1. I was like, oh, that's great. So those are two huge wins over Ottawa. And
yeah, the Canadians.
I mean, they haven't clinched anything yet.
No, they haven't. But they were facing the team that was breathing down their neck, and they beat him twice in a row. So
they certainly
they did what they had to do.
They've certainly almost clinched a playoff spot. I mean, it's getting close.
No.
To that.
I told you a month ago that the playoff spot was clinched.
Yeah, I told you. Remember, I said it's 50-50, and then I downgraded them to 30-60. But now I'm gonna upgrade them to like 90%.
I never upgraded or downgraded. I told you a month ago that they were making the playoffs, and I'm sticking to that.
I think we're seeing a trend here in that not just hockey, all the sports. You kind of like make up your mind and you stay level-headed about everything.
Yeah.
While me, I'm like all over the place, jumping on and off the bandwagon, breaking my ankle half the time, probably.
Yeah.
I need like a go to the doctor from jumping off the bandwagon so many times.
You should be a little bit more careful.
I should. So I mean, the Habs, you know, they look strong. It was great. It was pretty crazy that they used Carey Price for both games.
I know, but Ottawa used Anderson for both games
and
also.
He was bad he was not particularly good from what I read in the second game. So he didn't look great in the shootout in the first one. But I mean, Alexander Radulov is so good in the shootout. It is almost unfair how good he is. He's so good. I'm shocked when he doesn't score in the shootout. And of course, we could probably look up his record, and he's far from automatic. It just seems like he always scores. So. And I think the goalies think that he have a book on him in that he has this one move where he comes in and he goes backhand, but he roofs it but with a backhand, which is obviously very hard to do. And I think 2 days ago, he fooled Anderson. I think Anderson was waiting for that backhand, and he just took a shot, in the top corner forehand.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to the playoffs. NHL playoffs are great. So.
I have an opportunity to go to the Habs game in Buffalo on the first week of April.
You should go.
Except that it's in the middle of the week.
Oh, you're going to go with our friend of the show, Joseph de Benedictis.
Well, I mean, he's there already because he works in Buffalo, but he usually doesn't stay for the games anymore.
Right.
So he probably wouldn't stay.
No. Oh, okay. Well, you should go. Well, I don't know.
I mean,
it's not it's not anything game. So if it's a pain in the butt for you to get there,
I mean, it would mean leaving work a little early, and then I get home late, and I have to go to work the next day. So who knows? We'll see.
Right. Okay. Cool. Do you have anything else you want to go over in hockey, or?
No, not at all.
There's a little bit of an interesting race going on right now in the
scoring race?
Scoring leaders. Yeah.
Well, you saw that Crosby got a hat trick, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
that game was televised here.
It changes all the time though, because. Brad Marchand scored 2 goals and then he went ahead of Crosby, and then Crosby's like, "Nah, buddy, hat trick."
I can't believe that Brad Marchand's even in this conversation, because to me he's still a goon. I know that he can score and whatever.
But wait, You're the only person that watched the World Cup of hockey. You saw how good he was.
Yeah, because he played with Crosby. I would be good if I played with Crosby.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's 3 goals ahead now, Crosby. That's a lot, right?
Well, is he 3? Yeah. Well, that is a lot.
And Pacioretty for a time. Pacioretty for a little brief time was like second at one point, but now he's fallen back a little bit.
Check out the Skip and Josh Sports Show on Twitter. You know that little app with the little blue Tweety bird? Yeah, you can follow them there at Skip and Josh.
By the way, you mentioned the World Cup of Hockey.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to bring this up, but you mentioned the World Cup of Hockey, so I'm going to talk about the World Baseball Classic, which you ripped to shreds.
How are you enjoying it?
First of all, I haven't watched any games since we talked.
Okay, that's that captivating.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying about the World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
Yes, there are many flaws in the event. Yeah. There's no question about it.
You still like the idea of a best on best type of format?
I do, but not only that. I mean, really, if they don't have the tournament, then what's left? There's just spring training games, which are boring.
Yeah.
So this is better than spring training games. That's all I was trying to say.
I listened to an interview with someone on the radio. I forgot which specific country he was from. Maybe Venezuela or one of the South American countries, and they said that those countries take this thing really seriously.
Of course, yes, they do.
Yeah, it's really important.
And let me tell you, I don't know if you heard what happened a few days ago with the Mexican team.
I have not heard.
So someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Adrian Gonzalez is on Team Mexico.
He is Mexican, I know that.
And so before their last game, there's a weird tiebreaker rule. It doesn't make any sense. I don't even understand it. So they were told that all they had to do was win, I think, by 2 runs or something, and they're fine. And so they had a lead in the game, and they were winning by 2 runs, and so they won, and they thought that's it. They got the tiebreaker, and they're advancing to the next round. In fact, I don't know if there was the World Baseball Classic or MLB, but one of them tweeted out, "Congratulations to Mexico on advancing to the next round." Then, like hours later, someone realizes that a mistake was made.
Oh my God.
And Mexico actually did not advance to the next round.
That's so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous completely. And Adrian Gonzalez was livid. He's still livid about it. He says he's never playing in the World Baseball Classic again.
But who made the mistake? Like who told them that they had to win by 2?
Somebody tweeted. They don't know who tweeted. This was all verified even before the game, apparently, that they were told that if you win by 2 runs or more,
but verified, obviously someone made a mistake.
Obviously someone made a mistake, yes, because what ended up happening is I think in the 8th inning, Mexico had runners at second and third, and they could have,
scored.
I don't know, tried to push those runs across or something. Instead, I think there was like a sacrifice bunt. Instead of, trying to pile on more runs is basically what I'm trying to get at.
They should have piled on more runs because you don't know if, like, in the next half inning, if the other team's going to score, right?
Right, but they just wanted to make sure they won by 2, and I think they were up by 1 at the time.
Oh, my.
So rather than risk getting no runs, they played conservative, got their second run, thought they had clinched. But they would have played differently had they known.
Oh, my God.
You'd have to read the whole article, the whole article. But anyway... So after reading that,
you're not making your case. You're making my case.
Your case.
Yeah,
100%. Like it's a complete joke. You can't and there should be a better way of breaking ties than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't come down to run differential or like play an extra game. It's just baseball. Who cares?
Go extra innings.
Well, they did.
No, but I mean, till they decide it. You know what I mean? Like
no, but they were tied with a different team.
Yeah.
So they couldn't just go extra innings with that team because they were tied with a different team.
Right.
In the standings. So anyway,
right.
So you're right. It is a joke and they need to fix it. But I mean, there must be like, if soccer can do it, if hockey can do it, if all these other sports can have these best on best tournaments, there's no reason why baseball shouldn't be able to have it.
Right.
The Skip and Josh Sports Show is back.
Anyway, I have nothing, believe it or not, I have nothing that's bugging me. So do you have anything that's bugging you?
Things that bug me?
It's interesting. So I was, as you know, I was on a work trip this weekend, and what I like traveling for work. I do travel often, So I do like traveling for work because I work from home. So when I go on these trips, I get to see people from our organization that I don't get to see all the time, right?
Okay.
So not just people from our New York office, but like other people, whatever, people from all over. So it's good. So one of the guys that I work with actually pointed this out to me, and I was like, man, this is so true. It's the most true thing. So I don't know how much you travel, but I mean, certainly you've stayed in quite a few hotels in your life and recently. So why is it that it's almost impossible to get a good TV in a hotel room?
This is a good question. I recall only one time
Yeah.
that I was in a hotel where I actually had an HD TV.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they all have HD TVs.
Right, but if the feed they're getting isn't HD, then it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So this was interesting because I was staying in one of these hotels that every room is a suite, right?
Okay.
So I had like a living room area and a bedroom area, and I actually had 2 TVs in my room, and both were good. And I think it's like it was a miracle, right? So I had a big screen TV that had HD picture. But I mean, 90% of the hotels I stay at have these beautiful TVs, brand new, and they're showing like stretched or zoom. Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand these hotels.
Because if you think about it, you know, at home, if you want HD on all your televisions, you need to have a separate HD box for each television.
I know, but
so that means they'd have to have an HD box for every single television in the building.
But, you know, I don't stay at like Motel 6 when I travel for work. You know,
understand.
I'm staying at like Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt. Like, I'm staying at like big hotel chains, and like these hotels sometimes can't get a proper HD picture on their TVs. So props to Matt that I work with that pointed this out to me, and I was like, man, this is a perfect segment for our show, because it is unbelievably true how hotel televisions cannot manage to get you a proper television feed.
That's a great what bugs me.
It really bugs me, and it was fantastic that I was able to actually watch on 2 different TVs. I actually, like, at one point I had a TV on in the bedroom on TNT, and I had a TV on in the living room on CBS.
Could you see both of them at the same time from where you were standing?
No, but I could hear it, you know?
Oh, okay.
So it was weird.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, well, this concludes another episode of the Skip and Josh Sports Show.
Beautiful.
So just reminding everyone to give us a like and give us a review on iTunes and keep the downloads coming. And then we'll keep the shows coming.
Awesome. Yep. Love it.
So I don't know, just to tell the listeners, we might get off of our normally scheduled releasing times. Like, we've typically been releasing things on Saturday afternoon, evening. But, you know, March Madness threw us for a loop, and then, you know, I had travel. Yeah, we should tell the listeners about your big vacation.
Big vacation. Actually,
everybody, Josh is going to Miami.
I might go see my first ever Grapefruit League game next week.
Oh my God, you have to take pictures. I can't wait to see a Grapefruit League game.
Of course I'll take pictures.
All right, well, definitely text me from the game. Tell me how it is. All right, what's the venue?
I'm going to go to West Palm Beach because I'm staying in Miami and the closest spring training site is in West Palm Beach, which isn't that close. It's like 90 minutes. So I'd have to rent a car. But there are 2 different teams that train in West Palm Beach, the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros. So on the 27th of March, I can see the Houston Astros versus the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Or on the 28th of March, I can see the Washington Nationals against the Miami Marlins. Exactly.
Well, just out of principle. I mean,
exactly.
Being an ex-Montrealer, I don't see any reason why you should go to the Nationals-Marlins game.
No,
that's
absolutely
like,
not.
You shouldn't be supporting either of those franchises with your dollars.
Someone might as well just take a knife and stab me in the chest.
Look, I really have no animosity towards the Nationals. Washington, I think, deserve the baseball team. It just kind of sucks that they got ours. But I mean, the Miami Marlins, I mean, no. That's a big no.
No. So that's why I'm probably going to go to the Astros Cardinals, which should be a good game because both those teams are, potential playoff teams.
Yeah, but it's spring training. Do they even use their real players? It depends who's playing that day, I guess.
They will for 3 innings, maybe. Who knows?
You may have a Jose Altuve sighting or,
Listen, I could scout for, my draft.
When is your draft?
Same day as your draft.
What kind of league are you in? Random people or you know them?
No.
You're in my pool?
I'm an assistant general manager in your league.
Oh, this is great. I didn't know this.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
I thought you knew. I'm an assistant general manager, so I don't own the team, but I'm assisting the owner.
Which team is that? Book's team?
Yeah.
He doesn't need help. He's some kind of fantasy sports idiot savant, this guy.
Well, let me tell you something, because I helped him last year as well, okay? And so he was laughing at me, but last year at the draft, we were on the phone, and I said to him for his last pick of the draft, I said, take Trey Turner. I know he's in the minors, but take Trey Turner. Listen to me. Take Trey Turner. And he, you know what? I actually wanted him to pick Trey Turner, not even last, like second to last or third to last. I kept bugging him every round, and he kept saying, no. Finally, the last round, he was still available. I don't know how. And he said, okay, fine, I'll take Trey Turner. Meanwhile, now he gets to protect Trey Turner, and it's like a last round pick.
Oh my God.
So
my team was so pathetic. We won't get into it. I think we'll save all this for the baseball preview episode.
Okay.
No, like
it's good. It's fine.
Yeah. It's good that you told us about that, but I'm not going to get into much more about my team. It's a disaster.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think actually the next episode is going to be our MLB preview.
It might be, yes, when I get back from Florida.
Yeah, either the next one or the next one. Look out for that one. We're definitely going to have an MLB preview before the season starts.
Great. Love it.
All right. Great talking to you, Cubby.
Okay. Have a good week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The Skip and Josh Sports Show is over now. Don't worry, there'll be another episode soon.